Chapter 33. Jesus' friends at Boris's house. This news distresses the chief, and invited by Boris, he and Chiwa enter the latter's large palatial mansion, where Boris organizes grandiose hospitality for the new chief. Bab and Robin also arrive, and the entire evening is spent discussing Jesus the Lord. But the chief finally asks, "But tell me the reason why, after all that I have heard about him, he did not dare to remain here. For it would be quite another thing if he had moved elsewhere for a while on account of his supreme calling. This way, it would appear he left solely from fear of Herod. A man like he, however, insofar as his nature has been made known to me, and whom heaven and earth obey, and who on top of that enjoys the Roman chief governor's close friendship, should plainly have no reason to ever flee before the feeble tetrarch of Jerusalem. Of a truth, look at the thing whichever way one will, but this much is certain, that prophets for earth dwellers would look good if a god were to start fearing devils, taking to his heels before them. The more I think about it, the more intrigued I am by it all. Clear this thing up for me positively, or I have to, as dear as you are to me, openly say to you that we otherwise may be greatly mistaken about this man. For the Almighty truly has no reason to fear a Herod who may not even yet have thought of persecuting him. For I, as a favourite of this tetrarch, know him better than any one of you, and know that he has of late already repented 1,000 times for killing John. For the instant deaths of Herodias and her daughter have precipitated the tetrarch into such fear that he is certain not to kill another prophet in his life. Jesus must therefore have departed from here for a completely different reason, and even if the 7 incensed disciples of John had told him ever so shocking things about Herod, then I wonder whether an all-knowing man, going forth from God, and bound to know even what we are discussing about him here, can believe those who have brought forth obvious lies. Can none of you offer me a better reason for his sudden departure from here?" Says Boris, "Dear friend, this could be a problem because we all were equally put off by his sudden flight, notwithstanding that we are fully convinced that he still is that and whom we have recognized and accepted. To be honest, he was afraid even of you, and that was discussed by all the many disciples, including the exalted Romans who have now been with him for several days. But as I see now, he need not to have fear of you, since you are now on his side, and definitely not against him. Hence he must have a completely different reason for determining his sudden departure than would appear to be the case." Says the chief, "Tell me then how things were shaping up before he started to make arrangements for leaving. Perhaps even more so Chiwa or I shall then be able to work out an intelligent reason." Says Boris, "The thing unfolded as follows. Already in the morning he sent his 12 disciples, whom he calls apostles, down to the sea to prepare a ship, and to probably also spy out whether any Jerusalemite agents and paid assassins are seen there. At Zabara, the toll gate belonging to a certain Matthew, who is a disciple of Jesus, the disciples of Jesus ran into John's 7 disciples. Some they had already met once before, I think, on the occasion where John was already in prison and had heard Jesus' words. These 7 disciples told the apostles all that had taken place at Jerusalem with their master. They also told how, secretly, Herod, although admitting to those who brought him news of Jesus that the latter is the resurrected John, He nevertheless had sent out spies and murderers, briefing them thus: "If you find out for certain that the supposed Jesus is indeed the risen John, then leave him alone and return home. If, however, it is Jesus for sure, then to try and kill him without further ado. If successful, then the murder will be highly rewarded by Herod. If, however, they don't succeed due to Jesus being a real God-man, as it were, not capable of killing, then they were still to expect a similar reward from Herod. And he shall himself, then together with his entire tetrarchy, become followers of Jesus." These tidings John's disciples, together with the disciples of Jesus, brought here with them to Jesus the Lord. Having heard this, he spoke, "Through such a base test, Herod is not going to become my disciple ever. The earth is big enough, and I shall yet find a spot where Herod's despicable apostles shall not find me. Did the Son of Man come in order to be through hired assassins that which he already is? Never so. He who asks me with murder weapons who I am shall get no answer eternally. But the time for our departure is, at any rate, upon us. And so let us go and win more on foreign soil who shall believe what we are without murder weapons in their hands." Upon which words of Jesus the departure went ahead, for he said, "Let us go, for it is my will now, and hence I can also see already the whereabouts of 600 such Herodian apostles of murder against me. Hence let us depart from here at once." Therewith all his disciples and those of John set upon this way towards Sabara, and by now shall already find themselves upon the high sea.